What's going on out there? Kip here with Omnia Fishing, and today's video is for you bougie gear enthusiasts, you rod and reel nerds. We're talking about the highest end rod and reel combos, bait casting combos that money can buy. All three of these combos today are over $1,000, which is ridiculous, but these feel incredible. I've already played with all of them. They feel like nothing in hand, and I know there's a group of you out there that love this stuff. So we're gonna jump right into it here. The first combo we're gonna touch on is the Shimano Poison Ultima paired with a Shimano Aldebaran 50 MGL. It's actually a 51, it's a left-hander. This is probably one of the lightest combos I've ever picked up. The rod we went with was the 610 medium. I believe it's a mod fast or fast action. Fact check me on that. But we went with this one because this is far and away the craziest jerkbait setup of all time. It's come in well over 1,100 bucks, maybe closer to 1,200. It's feather light. The rod came in at 3.3 ounces, nuts. The combo altogether, it's crazy guys, came in at 7.8 ounces. There might be another combo we could put together in our warehouse that matches this, but none that I can think of right off the head. 7.8 for a combo is crazy light. I want to be very clear that you do not need this high-end gear to go out and catch bass. I've said it in the past, my comfort zone is kind of like $200 rod, $200, maybe $300 reel. That absolutely gets the job done, but I do have to admit these feel ridiculous. So without further ado, let's take this one to the wall. The Shimano Poison Ultima 610 medium paired with an Shimano Aldebaran 51 HG. All right, on the wall with that Shimano Poison Ultima paired with the Shimano Aldebaran 51 HG. And bending it here, definitely a fast mod, fast action, kind of what I figured. But this is one of the best jerkbait models on the market. They've got it in the X-Bride, they've got it in the Zodius, they've got it in the SLX, and of course, all the way up to the Poison Ultima. Now, the reel, we could have gone for this is the most expensive rod that we carry in the warehouse. We could have gone with like an Antares or something crazy, and got up closer to that like $1,500 mark. But we went with the Aldebaran because the Aldebaran is one of the lightest reels on the market. And with this rod being so light, I wanted to see how low we could go. So again, came in at 7.8 ounces. That's pretty ridiculous. And if you are a jerkbait enthusiast, this is one that you should have on your wish list, if you've got the budget for it, of course. But the Aldebaran and the Ultima make an awesome pairing. Personally, if I had this in my boat, I would have to find a different way to use this other than just for jerkbaits. It is too nice to be limited to that. So I could see little finesse football jigs, a spinner bait even, but I would have to find a couple other techniques to use to justify blowing that much money on a rod and reel combo like this. But nonetheless, really cool combo here. Again, Shimano Poison Ultima paired with the Shimano Aldebaran 51 HG. All right, before we get on to rod number 2 here, one thing I forgot to mention in the intro that I wanted to make sure to make a point is that if you are a high-end rod and reel guy, you like the Steezes, the P5s, the NRXs, the Poison Adrenas of the world, I would encourage you to make a couple purchases here soon. We all know what's going on in the world. Tariffs are on the way, and those prices are absolutely gonna go up. So if you've been in the market for a high-end combo, we're running out of time here before that budget's gonna have to go up for you. So we hate to do it, but the price raises are coming. Don't have an exact time frame on it, but you will see them in the near future. So one more reminder, if you are in the market for a high-end rod and reel combo, buy it now. We'll get into rod number 2 here, combo number 2 here. This is the P5, Megabass P5 Destroyer X Bites, and we paired it with the Daiwa Steez SVTW. One of the craziest reels on the market. I think this might be the most expensive bait casting reel that we've got. It has an unbelievable paint job on it, and they packed all the technology that Daiwa's got into this reel. The spool tension, they've got their zero adjust spool tension, but it's a different version than you're gonna see on even the Zillion or the Tatulas. You need a tool to get into this thing. I doubt you'll be able to see that, but in the box you get a tool to adjust that. And again, it's their zero adjuster because you're not supposed to adjust it, but if it did happen to get out of whack, or maybe you adjusted it by accident, they actually make a tool to adjust that. So Very sleek reel, again, a light reel. The combo, or the rod itself, again, this is the X Bites from Megabass, came in at 4.1 ounces. The combo itself came in at 9.5 ounces. So again, a sub 10 ounce combo, which is kind of the benchmark for super high end rods. Anything below that is crazy light. So, and especially with these Megabass P5s, they do counterbalance their rods. So a counterbalanced rod with a fairly light reel, under 10 ounces, pretty awesome. The X Bites has been a great seller for us here at Omnia for years now. It's kind of noted as like your lighter bottom contact rod, and I love this rod. We've talked about it in the past, but wanted to make sure we include it in this video for your $1,000 and up combos. So let's take this one to the wall. The Megabass P5 Destroyer X Bites paired with the Daiwa Steez SVTW. All right, we're back with the Megabass P5 Destroyer X Bites paired with the Daiwa Steez SVTW. Before we get into it, I do want to mention there are dozens of rods and reels that we could have thrown into this video that exceed the $1,000 combo mark. So if your favorite isn't in here, don't get bent out of shape. Leave a comment what your favorite high-end rod and high-end reel are, and we will try to include them in the next one. We can definitely do this video again. But we've got 3 today. We got that Shimano combo, this Megabass and Daiwa combo. We got one more after this. But into the bend, this is the P5 Destroyer X Bites paired with that Daiwa Steez SVTW, and bending the X Bites here. It's a fast action. I believe in Megabass speak, they call this a heavy power. It's a F5.5. Actually, that's not a heavy, I don't think. I think that's a medium heavy, which makes more sense. It has a very soft tip. It does hit a bunch of backbone, but like the FMJ is definitely stiffer. The Deimos is even up here in stiffness, I would say. But it does have quite a bit of backbone. So for your lighter jigs, your lighter Texas rigs, even your finesse football jigs could definitely be thrown on this rod. P5s come, I mean, they look beautiful, obviously. They've got the metal locking nut. They've got a nice cork split grip, again, counterbalanced. The reel seat, I believe, is a proprietary Megabass reel seat. Personally, I'm more of a Americanized reel seat kind of guy, I guess. I like a bigger trigger, all flat. This one's got some contours and a short trigger. For me, again, personally, I know there's people out here that love this. There's a little too much going on. I'd prefer a standard like Fuji reel seat, but I can see where people would really like this reel seat too. It's very, not minimalistic, but small, doesn't get in the way. And I can see why there's a lot of people out there that like this reel seat. Once you get into your higher end rods, unfortunately, a lot of the times they don't come with a hook keeper. Both the Poison Ultima and the P5 line do not come with hook keepers. Just to save on weight, I suppose, but that's one thing to note. If you're in the market for these, you will probably have to add on a hook keeper if you're wanting one. But outside of that, I mean, these P5s are crazy. We're not really talking about a specific standout rod, although these last two have been absolute standouts. We're more talking about families, super high-end rod families, and then, of course, the reels. But if you're in the market for super high-end rod, super high-end reel, definitely be sure to check out the Megabass P5 Destroyers, and this Steez SVTW is ridiculous. It does cost a pretty penny. I think they're upwards of 700 bucks, which is nuts, but really cool reels if that fits your budget. So again, P5 Destroyer X Bites SVTW Steez from Daiwa. All right, last combo for the week. Had to throw the G Loomis NRX in here. You guys probably knew it was coming. These run about 625 bucks or so. And we're pairing it with the Shimano Matanium DC. This is the XG model, so it's an 8:1-to-1, I believe. Sweet looking reel. I think it's a big upgrade from the previous DC. It was a bigger body. It was more of a gray color. This is a sleek black look. Pretty light for a DC. That DC technology adds quite a bit of weight, like a Corrado versus a Corrado DC. That DC does add quite a bit of weight. So they kept the Matanium a little bit lighter. Still not the lightest combo we've got. This is the NRX Plus 883C BJR. This is their bladed jig rod. This is definitely not the lightest NRX model that we have, but it's one that we haven't bent, I don't believe. So wanted to get it on the wall. And the DC, Matanium DC, like I said, does add a little bit of weight over the standard Shimano Matanium MGL. So this rod came in at 4.3 ounces and the combo came in at 10.6 ounces. So if you dropped this down to say like a 853 and went with a MGL instead of the DC, you probably get this combo sub 10 ounces as well. But with this current setup, it sneaks just over 10 ounces. Still ridiculously light. As you guys know, these NRXs come with the recoil guides about halfway up the blank. Some people love them, some people hate them. I'm kind of indifferent about it. I've used braid deleter on these. Don't get hung up in those guides at all. So to me, if it saves weight, I can absolutely deal with them. Now this rod, the NRXs actually do come with hook keepers. This one has just a loop. I think some of the other models have more of like a clip. For your Texas rigs and jigs, you can just slide it underneath. This being a bladed jig rod, they've got a loop so you can just slide the hook right in there. But let's bring this combo to the wall, the G Loomis NRX 883C BJR paired with the Shimano Matanium DC, not MGL. All right, last bend for the week. G Loomis NRX Plus 883C BJR paired with the Shimano Matanium DC. And giving this rod a little bit of pressure here. Seems like a pretty fast action. One thing to note about these high-end rods, right? They're using super high-end graphite. And that's a great thing for a lot of your bottom contact stuff. But for me, in my personal use, I prefer a cheaper rod for my moving bait stuff like a chatterbait, just because the lower end graphite tends to bend a little bit further. So for your moving baits, the NRX line, at least in my opinion, hasn't been my go-to. With that being said, even though this is labeled as a bladed jig rod, I think this is way more versatile than that. Like, it's got a pretty stiff backbone and a light tip, so you absolutely could throw some moving baits on it, but you could throw jigs on this. You could throw Texas rigs on this. You could drag football jigs all day with this. This is definitely not limited to a bladed jig rod. So if you're looking at the NRX line for a chatterbait rod, even though this says bladed jig on it, don't expect to get a rod that folds over. If you want a slightly softer rod, go down to the IMX. They've got a couple chatterbait rods as well, and those are a little bit more parabolic. So for me, I'd be looking at this rod for more like your swim jigs. It's an NRX, so anything bottom contact is gonna be just fine on this rod too. Wouldn't be my first choice for a chatterbait rod, but it would be my first choice for a lot of other techniques. NRX rods are ridiculous. And this Shimano Matanium with the DC technology, I've heard nothing but good things about this. I believe this is still their IDC5 brake system, which is their most advanced DC technology. You've got internal and external brakes on this reel. So whether you're casting into the wind or you just want to get maximum distance, the Shimano Matanium DC is legit. That's gonna wrap it up for this week's Rod Bend. I enjoy bending these high-end combos. They're super fun. I don't have a ton of them in my arsenal. Again, I stick to the lower end stuff usually, but it's a pleasure to bend these on the wall. They're super light, super crisp, and I can definitely see why there are people out there that have boats full of these things. But thank you guys for tuning in. If you are not already a pro member, please start a 7-day free trial. Start saving on your tackle. You get 10% back on all of your tackle purchases. You unlock exclusive map layers, water temperature, navionics, hardness, vegetation that are gonna help you catch more fish. And again, if your favorite rod wasn't featured in today's video, please leave it down below. We can drop a part 2 for $1,000 combos and up. We can do spinning rods. I promised you guys we'd do spinning rods soon, so we'll do those in the coming weeks. But again, thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you next week back at the rod wall.